Okay, science update for the second Martin period. Just want to say the kids are doing a great job. Not only are we learning science, we're also learning a lot of intangibles. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that first. I'm going to kind of guide you through course selection a little bit, especially for parents of kids who are going through this for the first time. All right, so first things first, we're currently in our physics unit, right? And this is the regular science course. Right now, we're talking about the difference between speed, velocity, and acceleration. And more importantly, we're really starting to push now the math in the science. And, you know, we're doing a lot of demonstrations, right, that really allow the kids to understand the relationship between speed, velocity, and acceleration, and how forces cause acceleration, right? But even more importantly, we're spending more time on calculations as this course evolves through the years, right? We see different needs throughout the years. And the need we see is we need to continue to find ways to improve the preparation in math, more namely algebra, right? For success, not only just this year, but for down the road in high school, right? Because the 8th grade year, the math or the algebra they're currently in, or the geometry they're currently in, right? Depending on your child, especially the algebra. That algebra one is so critical for success down the road in the high school. It is so critical for that geometry course in 9th grade. Or the course 3 math we're taking, it's so critical for algebra 1. I mean, algebra 1 sets the whole tone for everything. And if you don't have a full-fledged, thorough understanding of algebra 1, it really does come back, tenfold down the road. We found that out, overall through the years, right? So with that being said, we're taking the time to really push the science. We're pushing the algebra. And, when we're given a scientific formula, yeah, we do mention the formula triangle, but now we're spending more time and we're trying, more ways to really focus on, well, how do you solve for T? Prove how to solve for T, right? We're starting to use the term slope-intercept form in science class. And we're relating it to how do we get the diagonal line on a speed graph? Well, we're going to talk about the y-intercept. So we're going to kind of use math words. I've tried to do the thing where it's like math on one side of the T-chart. Now here's science language, and it's the same thing. So that's something new this year that we're trying to work on, to really blend the math and the science. Because sometimes I feel like, understandably, even me as a kid, you hear the thing, divide on both sides, do this, do that. Okay, you just know to do it, but do you really understand it? Can you prove it? So we're working on that, right? So not only are they getting a thorough understanding in science, we're trying our best to reinforce math skills, especially for that critical algebra 1, right? Okay. Also, we're also working on note-taking. Again, I've told your children, right, we take notes in class. Again, laptops are not used in class. Laptops are a great resource there to be used at home with some of my instructional videos, right? But they are not done in class. We are using paper. We are using chalk. In fact, technology in the classroom is colored chalk. Let me say it again. Technology in this classroom is colored chalk, right? We spend time analyzing, talking, acting things out, hands-on approach, visual learning, singing songs. We've done it all, right? So that's what we're doing here. But the laptop's important at home. But with note-taking, we're trying to reinforce active studying. We're trying to teach kids certain intangibles to be successful at the high school in any of the courses. And the one thing we're working on is by taking notes, it's my hope that it keeps your child's mind more engaged in the lesson. It holds them accountable, right? Because I always say, I'm going to test you not only what's in the book and the videos, but also what's just talked about in class. So if you're paying attention in class and you're building that resource because you've been taught how to take notes in class, you're going to learn more, you're going to listen more, you're going to understand it more. And if you understand it more, you're going to enjoy it more. Okay, so we're working on that. And I'm going to tell you parents, please remind your child, rewrite the notes at home. Don't just stare at them. Okay, if you know me, I don't have much of an attention span, right? A lot of kids don't either. Okay, mean, we're always preoccupied with things going on, right? I always believe active studying is key. Rewriting the notes, like just rewriting in. If you don't understand something that was written, highlight it, and then come see me the next day in SSS. Again, rewriting notes is a really good thing, and from what I've heard, it seems to work a lot. Not only in high school but also for college, right? We're also once in a while giving pop quizzes once in a while, because again, we want to instill a self-discipline, right? To study a little bit each night and not wait till later on in the year or later on in the unit for the test, right? We want the kids to build good strategies this year, because again, this 8th grade year is so critical to set the foundation for 9th grade. It's really important to have a full-fledged 8th grade academic year. When you have a full 8th grade academic year and it's thorough, it can only help for the 9th grade, right? All right. So again, I keep saying, good choices lead to good outcomes. You're going to go that extra mile, rewrite those notes, ask a question by self-advocating, right? Working with friends in homeroom. We're having some kids now working together in homeroom, studying together, asking me questions. It's really cool to see. So I'm seeing a lot of kids making good choices, right? And we want the kids to build on these intangibles, right? Because all these kids are smart. They're really good kids. They're smart kids. They want to learn, but they're being taught these extra strategies, not only the academic strategies of the science, right? Speed, velocity, vector, scalar, great, right? That's important. But we're also teaching the math behind it, right? Oh, solve for t, divide on both sides. Now, find the square root. Okay, great, right? That's important. But that doesn't matter unless the kids are taught how to take notes, how to study, how to keep a notebook, how to have self-discipline to, look over the material, how to have the self-discipline to be proactive and ask questions, right, to the teacher before it's too late. Okay, so again, we're trying to build the whole student here. We're trying to get them ready for high school and have a good science year while we're at it. All right, so let's get into course selection. So let's go back to what I just said. Good choices lead to good outcomes, but also good choices lead to good outcomes, which leads to options and more choices. What do I mean by that? Well, let's take a look. So your child has just gone through a course selection presentation from the high school. The high school over there, they do a great job. I mean, the programs they offer over there are phenomenal. Okay, I trust me, I'll tell like it is. Okay, you know me, most of you. The programs they offer over there are phenomenal. They've got a really good program. Okay, now, key is what's best for your child. And I always say this. I mean, I see your child 40 minutes a day. I see their work. I can give you some feedback, right? But you, the parent, know your child best. And more importantly, your child knows himself best. There's got to be a conversation between you and your child about what's best for them. All right, so we're going to talk about some of these options. All right, so I'm going to hit share screen. And I'm going to show you the course selection manual. Now, on the Spring-Ford website, they're showing this one, 22, 23. Again, I don't know if they're going to build a new one or not, but this is pretty relevant. What's on here is pretty relevant to what we need. So I'm going to leave a link to this. Okay, I'm going to leave a direct link to this, and you can click on the email I sent you. So we're only going to focus on 9th grade in science. I'm not going to talk about any other subject. Okay, I'm going to focus on 9th grade in science. I will mention math a little bit because you have to have a certain math background because students in this class are in different math courses. Okay, so I'm at the cover here. So I'm going to click on 9th grade. Okay. So this is 9th grade. So all you got to worry about is 9th grade. And then past, they got 10, 12. We're not in 10, 12 yet. So most importantly, I'm going to click on 9th grade science because that's all I'm worried about. Okay. Now, you have this right here. I'm going to come back to this. This is very important. Okay. This is very important. I'm going to hold off on that for a second. Let's scroll down to the 3 science courses. Okay. So number 1, let's look at this one. Everybody in 9th grade has to take a science. Everybody. Okay. And you have 3 choices. So everybody will be required at minimum one of these 3 courses. At minimum, regular science. Okay. Everybody goes there. You see the description on there. Okay, now, what if you want an honors course? Okay, so you have honors earth science and biology honors. Now let's focus on the requirements of the course first, and then there's going to be a little caveat on math course prerequisites. Okay, so earth science honors. Any child in 8th grade science, and I'm going to highlight this, who has a 90 in the course. I said a 90 in the regular science course, a 90. Now, you can make the choice to take honors earth science. Now, what's the difference between regular earth science and honors earth science? The material you learn is pretty much the same, but the honors requires more. And I just talked to Miss Antel, one of the 9th grade honors earth science teacher. Shout out, Miss Antel. How you doing? Let me tell you something. A lot of note taking, a lot of studying, a lot of note taking the night before you learn the material, lots of deadlines, lots of group work, lots of responsibility. So again, I'm going to go back to those intangibles. I just told you about note taking in this class, right? Rewriting notes, asking questions, being organized, self-advocating, being mature, self-discipline. If you show all those, or you're building those skills, because again, 8th to 9th grade, it's a whole year process, right? We want to show growth. If you're growing and you're building those intangibles, and you have the grade, a comfortable A to take that class, that might be, and you like science, that might be the course for you, okay? Again, even the regular science course you told me, a lot of note taking, a lot of preparation. You're held accountable in 9th grade, right? Because again, you got to think of this for a second. We're getting you ready for 9th grade. 9th grade, high school is getting you ready for college, the real world. Okay, so there is a jump. So please keep that in mind. Okay, so again, any kid who has a 90 or above and demonstrates all these intangibles in any regular science section can take honors earth science. Now, what's biology? Okay, biology, right? You need a 94 average in the 8th grade science course, and you must have completed Algebra 1. So if you're currently in Algebra 1, honors geometry, or honors Algebra 2 in 8th grade, right? And you have a 94 average or above in this class, and you're showing all these intangibles, self-discipline, focus, good note-taking, ask questions, resiliency, all of that. And again, and taking that in 8th grade, Algebra 1 completed it by the end of 8th grade. Honors geometry in 8th grade or Algebra 2 in 8th grade, you're eligible for the bio course. Now, what's the bio course like? Very fast paced, and I'm being honest with you. As a teacher and a parent, I've seen this course for years. It is a lot of material. In fact, it's almost like an AP bio course. I was amazed at the quantity of material. And a lot of it is this. The material's presented, you do the required work. There's a lot of optional work. You have to be self-motivated. It's just the PowerPoint, it isn't just, on the test. No. Did you write down everything the teacher says? Oh, that means did you take good notes? Do you rewrite them? Do you go above and beyond and read the textbook? Do you go above and beyond and do the practice website links, that he offers? All that. You do all that, and here's the thing, you got to love it to learn this stuff. Do you really want to learn all the different stages of photosynthesis and respiration and all these different formulas and all these different metabolic pathways and blah, 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 blah. Do you want to go through all that? And you're highly motivated and you love it? Then maybe that's for you, So there's a lot of choices. Again, parents, you know your child well. I see your child 40 minutes if they have a pretty good handle on how they are in this class. But I will say this, listen to your child. Your child, and this is for your child. Your child can provide a lot of feedback too. It's amazing how much kids do now. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing for a minute. So again, you saw those prerequisites, you saw those opportunities. It's exciting. But again, we're gonna come back to this. Is your child showing maturity, academic maturity? Do they self-advocate? If they do poorly, do they kind of, buckle down, make adjustments, work harder, self-advocate? In other words, show resiliency? That's a good thing. Nobody's perfect. Do they take good notes? Do they do homework at home without you bugging them? Are they doing homework while on their phone the whole time? I don't know. These are things you need to think about. The key is all these intangibles: note-taking, self-discipline, self-advocating, working hard, being resilient. You do all those and your grades are really good, then you're able to make more choices. So it comes back to good choices, more opportunities. Simple as that. Okay. So those are the 3 courses. All right. So now I'm going to show you one more thing on there. All right, I'll go back to the course selection guide. Okay. So I'm going to scroll up. And I think the district does this book, the high school over there, that high school does a phenomenal job. Okay. I've seen it both ways. Like they do great. I really like that school a lot. Quote me on that. All right. They're really good. So I look at science, and I think they do a good job with this book, because sometimes you want to think about 9th grade, right? And sometimes you want to think about the present, but you kind of want to look towards the future. But we always say you can only control the present. So let's focus on that for a minute. Sometimes you want to ask, well, if I take a certain course in 9th grade, where does that leave me in 10th, 11th, and 12th? So I know for a fact you have to take 3 years of science to graduate, minimum. So some parents get concerned, well, if I only take regular science and my kid wants to be a doctor or whatever someday, well, are they going to be prepared? Well, I think Springford does a nice job preparing, but the 9th grade course is regular science. In 10th grade, if you do really good there, you can take biology or even honors biology. 11th grade is chemistry or maybe honors chemistry, but there's still room for a college level science. Okay. 9th grade honors earth science. Very similar path. Biology, honors biology. Again, you can take honors biology in 10th grade, but you have to do really well in regular science. There's chemistry in 11th grade and maybe an AP science. And then in 12th grade, another AP science, and then there's physics. What if you take honors biology? Most kids go to honors chemistry in 10th. Some do really well in biology and they take regular chemistry in 10th because they realize they don't like science, and that's fine. They may take honors AP in other areas, and that's great. Right? That's great. Sometimes you got to find your path. You got to find what you enjoy. Some kids love science. So then they continue on. They can take regular physics or AP physics. There's no honors physics, AP Physics 1. Or other electives like microbiology, anatomy, physiology. Really cool courses they offer over there. And then in 12th grade, there's still physics available, or there's a second physics, like a second AP Physics, where there's also regular physics. There's AP Biology, there's AP Chemistry, there's AP Physics, there's AP Environmental Science. They have a lot of cool opportunities over there. So again, look at this too, and get an idea of not only what's 9th grade, but where does that lead you to in 10th, 11th, and 12th. Okay, so this course selection manual is great. I'll put a link to this there. So again, it's really cool. There's a lot of cool things to think about, but and again, being a parent too, sometimes you get carried away. Hey, you got this class. What about that class? What about this? Can you take this? Can you do that? Can you do this? It's exciting stuff to talk about. But you talk about it with your kid. It's great. Don't not do it. But please remind your child, while this is exciting, right? All these opportunities, right? You got to focus on the now. Think about your future. Look at what's there, but think about the now. Okay. And now real quick with recommendations. How am I going to recommend? I'm going to look at the number. Whatever your number your kid has in the math background, that's what I'm going to recommend them on now at the end of the second Martin period. Now, what if your child wants a higher level course, but they weren't recommended for it? Okay. The district's flexible. Let's see how they do to the end of the third Martin period. If they improve and they show growth in those intangibles and they get that grade, you can make the change, make that upgrade in the third Martin period. So the district is flexible. Well, what if they don't have that yet, but in fourth they do? Well, you can make the change after graduation for 2 weeks in June. You can upgrade in June. So look, hear me out here. The district is flexible to a degree. So I'm going to ask you, the parent, I will say this. We need you to be flexible and go with the flow. If we say regular science, but there's still chance to build, please follow the recommendation. Let me say this again. Please follow the recommendation. Here's why. We want to see your child continue to grow because there's still, 6 more months almost of school left. We want to see your child grow in science, but also in these intangibles. And if they continue to grow, right, they're going to get better. I'd rather see them earn that upgrade. Right? Let's throw them in there now and override. And then all of a sudden they drop. And they feel like they've already had a sense of accomplishment. They got that class for next year and they drop. I don't think that's good. I think what's best for kids is let them build and grow. The district is being flexible to a degree. So I'm asking you parents, please, to be flexible to a degree. Go with the flow. And I think things will work out fine. That's the path that seems to work. Okay? If you have any questions, shoot me an email. We will have class discussions about this after our test next week, because again, we got to focus on the present, right? And then we'll do some course selection discussion. Thank you very much. Shoot me an email if you have any questions. Have a great day.